So good morning, everybody. What's today's Thursday? Yeah. No, today's Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, and earlier this week, boy, was it hot. 90s, heat index near 100. Anyway, I backfilled the patio and spread grass seed and rented the plate compactor again. Spread all the poly sand and vibrated that in with the plate compactor. Spread it all out, swept it into the cracks, and then we got tons of rain last night, which is great because it, washed all that down into the cracks. And that poly sand, once it gets wet, it sets up like concrete. Well, not like concrete. I guess it'd be more like mortar, whatever. But it's ready for me to move the fire pit, so that's what's next today. Going to take all the wood out, put it in the wheelbarrow, and then move the fire pit. So, get to it. Had to stop for a second. Look what we got in there. Oh, a garter snake. Come on out, dude. Come on. I don't want to crush you. We're just going to tickle your butt a little bit and get you out of here. Come on. Come on. Come on out. I don't want you in there because you're going to get crushed. There you go. There you go. Move on out. There you go, little guy. All right, so I guess I can finally say that this paver project is done. Fire pit's there in the middle. Got the chairs and everything set around it. It's backfilled, grass seed planted. Maybe dress it up a little bit with some more topsoil. Need to fill the hole where the other fire pit was. Other than that, I mean, it's done. I think it's stick a fork in it time. On to the next one. Hey, good morning, everybody. So, getting ready to split some firewood and do what I enjoy back here, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the cost of going to work. So, if you watched my previous videos, you know I took an early retirement at age 49 because of COVID, but there are quite a few more reasons why I decided to leave my job. And if you're thinking about I'm sure you love your job. I'm sure your job is better than any other job in the world, and you get paid so much money you couldn't even begin to think about quitting. But if you're not that person, I want you to think about some things, and I'm going to tell you in detail where I was and what caused my wife and I to decide that I didn't need to be there anymore. So let's start with how much did I make? So at the end of my 22 years at the TV station, I made $21.77 an hour. Now that's pretty good. That's, especially in Youngstown, Ohio, that's not bad. That's somewhere around $44,000 a year, a little more than $44,000 a year. So, hey, not too shabby. 22 years before that, when I started at $13.65 an hour. Once again, that's not too bad for 1998. And, first job, $13.65, part-time. I was part-time, working overnights for 15 years. 1365 wasn't too bad. Took the job. The calculation you have to do though is inflation. What was that really worth? And you can very easily go online and just Google inflation calculator, and it'll tell you that 1365 an hour should have been $22.41 an hour after 22 years, just accounting for inflation. So I was actually making less per hour when I left my job than I was when I took my job. Let me say that again. I was making less per hour when I left my job than when I started my job 22 years before that, if you account for inflation, which you have to, because it's real. It happens. Anyway, so that 44,000 a year, what is it really? Because everybody knows you're not really getting 44,000 a year. So it was actually $685.78 a week take home, which comes out to about 35 and a half a year. So that's still decent money. You can live off of that. So, if you love your job and everything's going well and you're doing what you love to do, then absolutely, take it. So after that, we have a child, Kaylin, and we're both working. So Kaylin has to go to daycare. And now you see where I'm going, because a lot of you single moms, single dads out there, you know what daycare costs. We were paying somewhere around $7,500 a year for daycare. It was probably a little bit more, but I'm trying to be conservative with these numbers because I want to be not only realistic, but I don't want to exaggerate anything. So I'm going to stay on the low end of things. So $7,500 a year for daycare. Now I allowed myself $30 a week for lunches and for food. Now, $30 a week, that's not going to get you much. That's a couple of fast food stops, and you're probably spending more than $30 a week in eating when you go to work. But I allowed myself $30. Otherwise, I'd try and pack lunch, which still costs money, but it's not as much. But $30 a week just for food is $1,500 a year. Okay, and then the commute, your car. Your vehicle costs you money. Just owning a vehicle costs you money. Now, I have a 2013 Ford Edge. And the reason I have a 2013 Ford Edge is because it's still running and it has 85,000 miles on it, and there's no reason to get rid of it if it's still running. I just put belts on it for the power steering and it was $180. But there's no car payment. That thing is paid for. There's still a cost to driving it. It's absolute fact. The more you drive your car, the less, or the shorter amount of time it's going to last. So driving to work costs you money, not just in gas. So I'm going to take 35 cents a mile, because that's the low end of it's anywhere between 35 to 65 cents a mile. So 35 cents a mile, my commute cost me $3,276 a year. All right. So when it's all said and done, rounded, I made $23,250 a year. Out of that 44 plus thousand a year, I really made $23,250 a year. Still, if you love your job, you enjoy going to work, you want to keep doing what you're doing, take the $23,000. You can use it for stuff and enjoy it. Well, what are you going to be using that money on? We do a lot of home improvement. You guys see this. Sam's doing stuff. We've got it's kind of a fixer-upper. We're adding to it and everything. And over all of that time, the past year, I have built a fence. It would have cost us $7,500. I put in 700 square feet of flooring inside the house. It would have cost us $12,000. I built that paver patio. I told you in the last video, that would have been around $2,500, conservatively. I planted 8 trees. Now, this is an actual number. If I had somebody else plant those trees for me, the tree still costs the same amount of money, but if you have somebody else plant it for you, it would have been $250 a tree. So that's $2,000. So that comes to about $24,000, just those projects alone. That's it. Well, guess what I would be making at the TV station? $23,250. I'm already at a loss. Just in those projects, if we had to pay somebody else to do that, because I'm not available to do it. Then you take in, I built that pool deck. That was fun, it was extra, but that would have cost money. Somebody does that for you, you have to pay for that. clearing more land. We own 3 acres here, and most of it was wooded, and I want to, make a bigger backyard. That's not free. That's time that has to be done. That has to take effort, and you would have to pay somebody else to do it if you're not going to do it yourself. Little things, I put in a sink inside the house. You know what a plumber costs. Plumbers are not cheap. I think it's probably going to be $60 an hour just to have them come and look at your house. So anyway, you see where I'm going with this. Everything you do, every minute you spend, every dollar you spend that takes you away from your family, takes you away from things that you love doing, is a cost. There is an absolute cost to going to work. Now, the point of me telling you all this is this. Number one, if you're a manager, don't think that people aren't thinking this. They're going to work because they're trying to better themselves. They're trying to do something for their family. They want to earn money to take care of their family. They probably started their job thinking, I can enjoy doing this. If they chose the job that they're working for, if they're working for you, they chose that job because they said, yeah, I could see myself doing this. That could be fun. Don't ever take that for granted. And if you are not telling them at least once a week that you appreciate them, and not just in a paycheck, I mean, give them that attaboy, pat them on the back, let them know that you appreciate their being there, they're going to leave. Good employees quit bad managers. Good employees will quit bad managers. Happens all the time. Second of all, employees. Like I said, I'm sure all of you love what you're doing, and this video doesn't pertain to you at all. You're all just can't wait to go back to work every day. Think about these numbers. Do the math yourself. And especially in a time when places are dying for employees. There are so many jobs out there. And some of them are crappy jobs. Some of them are jobs that, if you're going to take one of those crappy jobs, make sure they're treating you well. Make sure they're doing what they need to do to keep you there. Because if you're not happy with your job, and I know a lot of people that have gone to greener pastures, whatever that greener pasture is, they have quit what they've been doing and moved on to something else because they're just not being treated the way they should be treated. And it's not fair. And you own your life. You own every minute of it. You can walk away from whatever you want, whenever you want to do it. Find something else if you feel that that's what you need to do. Now, this isn't me telling you, go quit your job. This is just what happened to me. I'm sharing my story with you. If it pertains to you, maybe it'll make you think a little bit. And, you can make a more educated decision on what you're going to do with the next so many years of your life. But I'm going to get to splitting some more wood. It needs to be done. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening on Sam's Doing Stuff.